call the meeting to order. Are there any corrections to the minutes of the previous meeting? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. So we have a short but significant agenda today. So first up is Visit Syracuse. This is something we do every year. There's state money. I did not ask Danny to come over because this is kind of routine business, but it's very significant. There's lots of state money out there for tourism promotion, etc. And every year we designate Visit Syracuse as the agency authorized to make an application to the New York State Department of Economic Development and receive matching funds from New York State Tourist Promotion Act of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. So again, this is their job, this is what they do. And so by designating them our official representative, we give them the authority to do this. So any questions?
I think all three of us, or four of us would move it, so.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Motion, second?
Yeah. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Nays, abstentions, motion's carried. Okay, number 2A, again, very significant thing that we do every year. So there are 4 agricultural districts in Onondaga County, and they rotate as far as which one comes up for renewal every year. This year happens to be District 1, the towns of Lafayette, Onondaga, Tisco, and Tully. Some of the obviously best farmland in Onondaga County, in central New York, and really in the world. Let's call it what it is. So, and what this encompasses is being part of an agricultural district doesn't have anything to do with taxes. This has more to do with zoning. So it protects the farm and the property from zoning that could inhibit or negatively affect the farming operation for this property. As far as taxes go, that's where you get into agricultural exemptions. There's a whole different process for that. That really has nothing to do with the county legislature. So at this point, we're just calling for the publication of the notice of the 8-year review. So when an agricultural district is up, people can add property in that district, or they can withdraw a property that might not be in agricultural use anymore. And so, but they can only withdraw when in the cycle when that agricultural district is up for renewal. Other agricultural districts can add property, but again, cannot withdraw it unless they're the district that's up for renewal. A quick shout out in advance, the Farmland Protection Board, of which Leader May is our representative on that board, led by Brian Reeves, who's done a wonderful job for years and years and years leading that board. They really quarterback this operation. When someone applies for inclusion in the agricultural district, they actually look at the property. They talk to the planning department to make sure that this is really qualifies for this type of designation. And so they do a lot of work. And the other shout out is to our clerk, Jamie McNamara, and the entire staff of the legislature. This is a lot of work for them. We have to do mailings to every single property owner in those towns of the affected district. And believe me, they do a folding and stuffing party in here usually, and it's a lot of work. So, for a lot of paper cuts. So sorry about that in advance. But anyway, they do a great job with it. So, but it's a great process, and so here we go again. So questions on 2A?
Do you need a motion to move it?
Yeah. Again, this is just for publication of the notice. So we'll have more to talk about as we go. Second, Sean. All in favor? Aye. Nays, abstentions, motion's carried. All right, so now the part we've all been waiting for. We have the leadership over in the Carnegie Building is with us today, and we're going to do an update on our Plan On, which we passed, it's been a couple of years now. And so there's obviously lots of pieces to it. I don't know if everybody got the email we sent out yesterday with some kind of 30,000 feet, information about the program. And who wants to go first?
Marty, you want me to go first? No, you go first.
Marty's up first.
Good morning.
Marty was on TV last night. It definitely caught his good side.
It's amazing how much more handsome I am on TV.
It's amazing. I barely recognized you.
I was like, who is that guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, back to the business at hand.
Yes, business at hand.
So I'm going to give an update on my portions of the Plan On that the legislature voted to fund with a fund balance transfer. So the first one is the Main Street grant. We allocated $5 million in fund balance for that. $3.75 million has been allocated with a match from municipalities of $1.4 million for a total investment of $5.15 million. That will be 59 projects across 12 municipalities. And then we have the $1.25 million for the North Side Main Street that is currently in process. We're talking to business owners and getting things set up. There will be a lot of interest over there for that. The program continues to run great and make a huge impact. You know, there's almost very few villages you can drive through now and not see an impact from this program, where it's just made like a dramatic difference. If you drive through the village of Liverpool, drive through Marcellus, East Syracuse has been completely transformed. Manlius is, yeah, and actually they're the last building in Manlius, so they tore down the crappy house that was still there, and now Grazi Czar's building, mixed-use building there with apartments. And that's underway, and then across the street, the last building that's really kind of dragging down the street is the building that Pavones is in, and a law firm. We just signed off on their plans to do some restoration on that property, so that will be the last piece of making that. So the program continues to be very successful, and the municipalities are very receptive. There was money in the 2025 budget for another round of $1 million, and we're reviewing applications that came in now to determine what we'll be able to fund.
So what we're doing right now is $2 million in it, or $1 million?
$1 million. You guys approved $1 million in 2025 budget. And so we're reviewing the applications that came in right now.
Gotcha.
To award. So
And that's countywide?
that is countywide.
Yeah, okay.
Every municipality has sent the application when we.
Right.
Yeah. The other portion of my department was the housing programs. There was $12 million. $5 million for infrastructure, $5 million for senior housing, $2 million for mixed use. Those funds are still in the pipeline. You know, it's important to have those funds there for when someone comes to need them. We're expecting a significant increase in interest when the actual work at Micron starts, which will be very shortly. So we're expecting, you know, we've been fielding calls recently from some developers. I have a meeting with a developer who's looking at a really large project on Friday, so we can talk about the OCHIP program, which is how we fund all this stuff. And the OCHIP program itself has been very successful. We've awarded over $8.6 million in grants, which supports nearly $845 million in development. The funding will create nearly 2,300 units of housing, 70% which are in the city and 30% are in the suburbs. And applications just keep trickling in, you know, every couple of weeks, get a couple more, and so it's moving along like it was intended, and it's really good to have this seed money for when they come calling. So.
Sounds good.
How much do we have left in there? Sorry, Mark.
How much do we have left in the OCHIP?
Yeah.
We started with 10, we added another 5, so we had 15, and we're at 8.4, or 8.6.
That we've
so,
spent.
Yes,
Okay.
that we've committed.
So.
Yes, we don't actually pay them until they're done.
Right.
So we've committed, we've given them a grant, and then once they get to the point of the project where they have a certificate of occupancy, that is when we start processing their payment as the last money in.
So there's about 7.4 left in the OCHIP program.
6.4.
6.6.
Yeah, 6.4.
Mark.
Plus the other buckets that were approved through plan.
Okay.
So then we have the other 12 million to designate for other.
Got it. Thank you.
Can we get a copy of that, just so we have the numbers? I know. But I want to go back to Main Street. One, I want to commend you and your staff, because you're right, it has have a dramatic impact. I want to thank the county executive and your staff for everything, because it is important. And as a fellow mayor, we used it, and we used it a lot. One thing I am hearing now is that, and I've heard it from 2 of my mayors, the infrastructure isn't keeping up. Sidewalks, streetlights,
Right.
with the beautiful things that everybody's done. So if we could look at maybe a program like that would help these municipalities with some of those projects, because that's where they're struggling the most. They've done all the nice things with siding, and they've done, awnings, and they've done curb, but their sidewalks need replaced, or their streetlights need help, or their curbing, something to,
And there's money in there for infrastructure, you said, right?
No,
No.
that's different. That's
That's
for,
a different
that
bucket.
infrastructure is for infill development where the site doesn't have the proper sewer and water and stuff running into the property. So it's not to expand the district.
Okay.
It's to take a
Well,
lot
we
in the
want-
middle
yeah, we
and
want to encourage infill,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yep, and so that infrastructure money is to help that site become more doable for a residential project.
Gotcha.
It started out when Main Street did it, we did a little bit of infrastructure and a little bit of economic development, and then it went to economic development. All I'm saying is maybe we could go back a little bit
Mhm.
and help with the infrastructure and those, infrastructure projects that
Sure.
I think are vital to continuing that.
Yeah, and that might be a logical next step, because, so many villages are at a point now where they're we have people that are like, well, we did this work here last year and we'd like to do this a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that might be an avenue to look for the future to.
Good. And again, thank you. I appreciate your work and effort on it. It shows.
Thanks.
Where exactly on the north side?
Anywhere.
Anywhere?
We're
So,
sort of in
so you're
this.
still thinking?
Yeah, we're gonna apply the same principles of where we try and cluster it to have a footprint where it makes a significant change.
Okay,
But it'll depend on what businesses respond and who can participate. Most business owners, when you explain to them that they can get $100,000 of improvement on their property and spend 25, it
Right.
doesn't take them long to say, where do I sign up?
yes.
They get that. So
So there's different
we're sort
sections
of
of
doing
the
the
north side
footwork.
thinking.
We're doing the footwork on the north side, but we'll try and get properties together. A while back, like 2018 or so, they did a bunch on Butternut Street. That was when Ryan was running the Main Street program out of here when he was the chair. So they did a bunch of properties on Butternut Street that came out nice. So we'll still look to see where there's a corridor where we can make an impact.
That's what I was gonna say, because really making the impact and not leaving a little is really, because when we're talking about certain districts and certain areas, which I'm super familiar with the north side, because I grew up there.
Yes.
And, just with everything, I like to see it making a great impact.
Yes, like we don't want to do like 2 properties on Salina and then do a property on Hiawatha and then go up to Grant.
Right.
Sort of jump around like that. We like to try and when it's successful, the county executive likes to repeat it, so.
Yes.
Absolutely.
See it on the west side.
All right, any other questions? Obviously, this is informational, so we're not voting, but
Thank you.
I think you did a nice job.
Well, thanks,
I know,
David. I
you always
appreciate
do.
it.
I'll second that.
Always do.
Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate all, this is a lot of work, a lot of paperwork. Mike LaFleur, shout out to Mike. He's really where the rubber hits the road with this as far as working directly with the municipalities. and
He's the enforcer.
Yeah, trying to get the paperwork done and all that, which is a, huge piece of the
Make him
puzzle.
spend that money. That's what Mike spent his time doing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Good problem to have.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right, so next up, we have our Director of Planning, Troy Waffner. So I had the great pleasure and good fortune of receiving an invitation to the Cornell Cooperative Extension Annual Banquet last week. Very yummy, too. But I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw on the agenda that our very own Troy Waffner was receiving an award, a much coveted award. And he received the Cornell Cooperative Extension Association Cooperator Awards of the Year again, to Troy Waffner in the category of agriculture and food systems. So it was very special. Yes.
I thought I saw Dave tearing up as they were handing it to me.
I was hoping you would bring your plaque with you.
Oh, there's gonna be an official unveiling with proper.
Okay, I figured it's probably being hermetically sealed so that you can put it up in your office. And
I can't have it stolen like the crown jewels from the Louvre.
Yeah, there we go. His acceptance speech was absolutely inspirational. We laughed, we cried. Unfortunately, we don't have the time. I was going to have you stand up and maybe give it again.
I would definitely don't have time.
Yeah, but we do have to keep moving along. So, anyway, but congratulations, and we appreciate your efforts.
And let me say, I'm glad to see you're rested up after the Apple Festival.
Yes, the Apple Festival, when's it next year? I think never too soon to start talking about it.
Columbus Day, October 2026.
Yep, 10th and 11th, I think, next year. So, we'll be hearing more about that. More to follow. So, anyway, so yes, if you'd like to hit your portion, we appreciate it.
So as part of the plan on funds, there was $5 million set aside for greenways and blueways. And of that so far, so we're in the process, we've awarded a contract actually to do a greenways, blueways master plan. It's been awarded to Colliers. The idea is to really go on a countywide basis, work with all the municipalities, kind of come up with that overarching plan of where can they go, whose ideas are out there, so it eventually leads to kind of the spending plan as we invest in greenways and blueways and look for grants outside of county government, in terms of federal government, state government, where do we pursue that funding, where does it make sense, where does it get the most connectivity, the Empire State Trail to other trails that'll get us around the county. So it's just not an isolated half-mile section somewhere, which are nice. I mean, they're great for enjoyment, but the idea is to really connect everything throughout the county. That contract is worth about $214,000. We've also started a $1.2 million grant program to assist municipalities with, kind of prior to the plan coming out, to help them implement some of their ideas to really get greenways and blueways underway. A lot of that right now is being spent on planning and design. Because you have to, that's the first part of all this, right? You got to have the engineering done so you can put the trail in. But so far out of that 1.2 million, about 885,000 has been awarded, and it's included the Village of Skinny Atlas, which has a plan to go from the Empire State Trail to Mertisco, and eventually to the Village of Marcellus. Shoutwell Brook in Skinny Atlas, which are the headwaters to Skinny Atlas Lake in a lot of ways, and will help them. Finger Lakes Land Trust has purchased the property. This property will assist with putting trails on the property. The town of Camillus, kind of going in the opposite direction of the village of Camillus, they're going to head west for about probably 3/4 of a mile to improve the trail that's there. They have a lot of flooding issues down through that area. This will help solve those flooding issues.
That's along the canal?
Yeah. The village of Marcellus actually is an interesting one because the genesis for the idea came from the school kids in Marcellus. And it's kind of their science program where they actually get practical hands-on experience, and it's creating a gateway trail right across from the school. It's right on a creek, so they're going to put in handicap fishing. They're going to put in a trail. And eventually that's part of what will tie to the Village of Skinny Atlas, or Village of Camillus and Martisco. So that money is certainly being spent. It's getting out there into the community. Village of Baldwinsville, we've been talking to, Village of Fayetteville.
Thank you for meeting with them, and they
have a great project because that'll be the first Blueway. Everybody's taking advantage of the kind of the trail part of this, and not a lot of people are taking advantage of the water part of this, but their plan actually calls for using a small feeder creek to get to the Erie Canal, which would be a fantastic project.
Thank you for meeting with them.
Oh, my pleasure. And then, there's what's that? Baldwinsville, they're looking at finishing sections of trail through the village and all along Paper Mill Island, kind of through the peninsula and everything. They have a longer-term vision. I'm talking to the mayor that'll actually tie them into the Empire State Trail using some public roadways as well, but they're just trying to, I can actually send you the plans, Kevin, so you have it.
Okay, that'd be great.
Everything they have, but they've requested about $50,000. It's been approved.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat project.
Oh, that's right, you saw it.
Yeah. I'm on this steering committee that we use our representative on there. But yeah, that whole area there, which is a very commercial area, which would, and this would certainly enhance that. Right on the river.
We've been looking at Bear Trap Creek Trail. How do you tie it in from its endpoint in Salina, kind of on 7th North Street, eventually to Park Street and the regional market to make all those connections. So we've been working with SMTC with a committee from the city and town of Salina as to how do we make those connections coming down Lake Creek, what are the best connection points, what's a timeline, because some of that has to be cleaned up environmentally. We are also looking at the current Bear Trap Creek Trail and kind of improvements we can make, and that is in need of probably a little bit of repaving, some accoutrements and seating and stuff down through there, so we're kind of taking a look at that with the town supervisor up there. And then we're working with the Parks Department on kind of creating an amphitheater bypass trails. Those trails are used on days of concerts or when bands come in early and they need to practice or whatever. So the idea is to really kind of find a connection point that can leave that trail open even during concert days and everything. And so we're working with them on kind of finding getting a consultant on board and really starting with the design on those.
So you don't have really a design, what's the idea for the bypass for the amphitheater?
The idea is, I mean, you got to find a way around the amphitheater, right?
Right.
And so you have various options, some harder, some easier than others, some are harder than others, some require the consent of probably the state fair to use a little bit of their property. But just to get us so you're not crossing, the side and back part of the amphitheater.
Right now, it goes right through the middle of the lawn section.
Right,
Yeah.
that'd be interesting, that'd be great.
Oh, it'll save, now that it gets closed a lot, but 20 days, 23 days, whatever number of concerts they have up there, it gets closed for at least that, unless the bands come in early to practice or whatever. And it's tough if it's a beautiful day and you want to go up and you want to walk that trail on that particular day and you get to the trail and it's closed, or you get to the gates and it's closed. So this will alleviate that.
Open it up, yeah, that'll be great, yeah.
So we still have a little bit of, we still probably have about 1.8 million left in the Greenways Blueways Fund that we're looking at more so after the master plan gets done, and how do we continue to help municipalities kind of keep the momentum going, with probably using the county money more as matching money in terms of getting federal and state grants in some cases. There's foundations that will fund some of this, if it includes fishing or something along those lines. So.
Yeah, we can't be the primary fund.
No.
That would go very, very quickly.
Oh my God, yeah. We'd fund one trail and be done with it.
Yeah. So.
There was also $5 million set aside for agriculture as part of Plan On. $790,000 was awarded to 53 agritourism operations. I forget the match on that, but it was over $2.5 million in private match on that. It's helped out a lot of the agritourism operations, and certainly along Route 20 corridor, but in the north part of the county.
Yeah, there wasn't a section of the county that didn't
No,
get,
they all benefited.
every place got some. Yep.
And then $4 million of it was directed to the regional market. So about $250,000 went to pay for the strategy plan, which has been completed, and $3.75 million is going towards kind of the improvements, physical improvements at the market, which will include, amongst other things, work on Shed C to make it into a true year-round marketplace with new doors, new insulation, kind of bring back some of the beauty of that structure. There will be a new gateway entrance, because if you don't go to the regional market every day and you get off on the 81 exit and you're staring in there, there's no real great signage or entrance that says, come this way to get into the regional market.
Right.
There isn't that gateway entrance. This will create that gateway entrance off Park Street. And then some of it will go towards construction of shared use commercial kitchens or ghost kitchens, which will allow people to kind of come in and experiment with their recipes, kind of starting a restaurant and hopefully growing beyond that and going into bricks and mortar restaurants and everything. So that's kind of exciting out there. And that's not the end of the plan. I mean, we're certain. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. So is the plan for the current structure there for the entrance is kind of like that shape? Is that kind of where it's still going to be physically located?
Yes.
So,
So if you get off 81 North and you pull right up and you're looking at Park Street crosses, and if you go straight into the regional market, that's where it will be.
okay.
There's a good rendering of it.
Yeah, there's a great one.
Yeah, on the website.
And is there still a plan to take over the buildings where the produce people are now? Are those folks going to be going elsewhere still?
So, well, I'm on the regional market board. So they're actually, this money, the county money has been very, very key. As Troy was talking about, to do some physical upgrades, to welcome the ghost kitchens, which I think are going to be really, really popular. But it's also being used for seed money for the regional economic development process that they're applying for around $40 million through the Red Sea, as it's called, program, and we seem to be really getting a lot of momentum going there locally and statewide to get that money. And that's the pot of money that would be used to improve those areas where the current produce people are, as well as build that facility for the better known as a food hub, where we can take in product from smaller producers, process it, and then package it, and so that we can service these large institutions, schools, Syracuse University, these big users that want to be able to call one-stop shop, call one place, and get everything they need. So that would give us that ability, and it gives a market to some of the smaller producers that aren't big enough to do it on their own.
Yeah, it seems like that building is pivotal to the success of the entire project.
Absolutely, yes, that's key.
It's the first work that has to be laid to get the whole project going.
Sure. So is there a time frame on that, you think, Dave, at this point?
I think, Bob, do you know what the timeline is for that end of the year?
The achievement. Yeah. So they're applying for, not to cut you off, but there's 100, thank you. Once I start talking. There's $150 million that's been set aside for 3 regions. So each region is competing for this $50 million, which will really be $40 million in capital costs. The project that's been put forth by the Central New York region is the regional market. And so there have been weekly calls and meetings and everything, and that's leading to what will be submitted, I believe, in early to late November, and then the SIAC committee from Empire State Development has to meet and argue it out and debate it out. But hopefully we'll know somewhere conveniently, I believe in the government.
That's nice that it's in the reachable future.
Oh, yeah.
It's not,
Yes, it's not years down the road.
It's starting to
No.
get real now, which is
No,
good.
absolutely.
And as part of that, they're looking at, certainly the food hub part of it, but they're looking at the connections to the north side, which are so important for the market.
Very.
Oh,
Important
yeah,
for them.
it's more than just a building. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I talk about the gateway entrance off Park Ave, there also has to be, we're talking about creating a gateway entrance off Carbon Street for all the folks who walk from the north side, because mainly they walk to the market. It'll give them a great entrance to come in. We actually met with the city of Syracuse yesterday. They have a TIP project that encompasses the perimeter of the regional market, putting in sidewalks and bike paths and more connection down through there to really make it safer for everybody as they walk around the market and the stadium and every place else.
So the city was agreeable to that?
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
They've got a plan
Yep.
going after that. That's
They have a
great.
great design they're working on,
Okay.
and I think they're looking at late 26, early 27 for construction.
That's great.
They're also working, they're doing a lot of things to try and better utilize that property. So it's just not sitting there, during the week, not being used. So they're starting to do food truck rodeos there,
Yeah,
which is
Thursday
a
night.
huge money maker for them, but it just gets people down there to see, oh geez, this is a nice place and easy to get to, plenty of parking, yada yada. They're also doing things in conjunction for Syracuse Mets home games, since it's obviously right next door. So lot going on. The new administration out there, led by Bill Fisher, is doing a nice job turning things around.
Has there been any plans or talks of possibly putting in like a stage there so there can be small band performances?
Well, they've been doing live music in the F.
I was
Okay.
get that.
Yeah, I get mixed up, but yeah, the F shed with the newest one.
Right.
And not super big. They don't want to bother the neighbors, but they've had 3 or 4 this year concerts there. So
for the update on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Just a couple other quick updates. Planning grants, there was 2.3 million set aside for that. So far, about 14 municipalities have applied and are working their way through the comprehensive plan process, as well as the zoning updates that go along with this. That's about 1.4 million that's been expended towards the program so far.
I think Fayetteville just had their first public hearing, their first public workshop, so
Oh,
that'd be a-
And it, kind of like agritourism, every corner of the county has been reached with the comprehensive planning money, which is
They're actually doing one that I think is important with housing, because they're doing the accessory dwelling units and changing their housing code to be able to accept maybe some more, or look at some different avenues to create more housing opportunities within, because there's no buildable lots, so you're kind of at it, but they're saying, hey, what can we do to say, turn a single family with a garage into a two-family or something, so that those are the regulations are, and the grant came from the county, so it's got some, I think, some benefits to see for these municipalities.
totally separate from Plan On, but just worth the noting since I'm here. We are going to begin, we put out a RFP to begin the Safe Streets for All strategy plan. It's being paid for with a federal grant with a small match from the county. And the idea is to really work with all the municipalities, look at all the roadways and intersections in county, go through the accident data, kind of rank them by various criteria, and then come up with interventions that can be had at varying price levels, at varying ideas, taking into account not only the infrastructure of the road, but drivers' mentalities when they're driving.
Right.
That we all have intersections in our districts that we know about. There's one 2 miles from my house that, it's a tough one.
So once that gets selected and gets started, it's about a 12-month process, and then we're about halfway through phase 2 of the housing.
Say that one more time.
Phase 2 of the housing plan.
Got it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Other,
you.
Thank
other,
you, Troy.
Troy,
Great stuff.
any questions last questions for Troy before he gets up? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Save the best till last, obviously.
The smallest to last. Smallest pot of money here. Good morning, everyone. Great to be
Morning.
here. Thanks for inviting us over. Here representing economic development, we had a $3 million pot of money that we are deploying for small business microloans that are being advanced, and so far we've had several applications, but we've had 2 projects that have been put forward, each $100,000 for bricks and mortar improvements. One is for a company called Saving Face. They own a number of barbershops. They have a location in Manlius, they have a location in Beeville, and we provided a loan for them for $100,000. We're starting, I think it's been phased. I think they've come at us with about $34,000 in costs so far, and they'll be coming in for another deployment of funding to get to the $100,000. And then another company, Fisk Electric, which I think is located in Geddes, has made an application to make brick and mortar improvements to their facility. So we've had 2 come forward. There were a couple of more circling. Out of the $3 million, we probably have unpacked about $250,000 roughly. We expect more to come once. We think there's pent-up demand out there. Once Micron breaks ground, we think a lot of companies are on the sidelines waiting, and we'll have more activity in this area. So that's kind of where we are in terms of economic development on this.
Fisk Electric's a good company.
Yeah.
I know the owner's a Lafayette person. So.
Yeah.
Is there somebody we should,
No, go ahead.
is there somebody, if we have a business or we talk to send them to somebody in your office? Is it?
Yeah, Rob Shenick is kind of the point person in economic development who's running the program on a day-to-day basis. Obviously it took some time. We had to get, once we had the funding, we knew that we had to stand up a board, we had to stand up a loan review committee, we had to create bylaws and all the other stuff. So there was a little bit of time there just to get the architecture, the infrastructure established for the entity. Once that's now in place, and Rob's actually going out and actively trying to promote this amongst the various towns and villages villages and other locations to.
Was he at the
Create some
manliest
interest.
summit that we
Pardon?
had? Was he at the manliest summit we had the first day?
I don't think he was at the Manlius Summit, but,
The first day, not the second day that you were there.
yeah. Well, I know he wasn't there the day I was there, but he might
Yeah,
have
the
been.
first day he might have been, because I think somebody talked about that.
Okay, yeah.
I think he did talk about it.
Megan were there,
Okay.
I think, planning.
That was key.
Well, and that's the thing with that.
But anything we can do
Yeah.
to promote it more actively would be appreciated. I mean, I know my team is out there beating the bushes, and I think one of the attractive things is that, the below market interest rates, typically around plus or minus 3%. So,
Really?
that's,
Yeah.
very attractive.
Yeah.
When compared to just conventional commercial borrowing.
Absolutely.
Well, it's one of those, again, a great problem to have. We've got all these really, really good programs, and this one's kind of been flying below the radar a little bit. So, yeah, if we get the word out.
A little bit, but we also think that part of it too
But
is.
it's not for everybody, yeah.
Well, it's not for everybody, but at the same time, we also think that across a wide spectrum of business in the area, once Micron breaks ground, I think there's going to be a lot of activity in this program and in other programs throughout the county.
Questions for Rob? Go ahead, Sean.
Has somebody taken advantage of this so far? How many people? Maybe, or is this just
Well, we
something
have
that
we have deployed $100,000 loans
Okay.
to two companies, Saving Face and Fiscal.
So just those two,
Fiscal,
okay.
two. We have a couple more applications that we're vetting. The requirements are, if I'm doing it off the top of my head, I think you've got to be an entity that's been in existence for at least a year, and then we require financial information to back up. We want to see your financials. We want to make sure that you're paying, that you're not in arrears on any of your property tax payments, et cetera, that you're a business of good standing, you don't have any pending litigation, for example. So it really is, to your point, Chairman, it is kind of a niche opportunity that, you need to be just big enough, but not too big to be able to take advantage of it.
I see.
I think there's a full-time equivalent of employment. On 100,000, you have to have 50 or less, and then it graduates down to the $25,000 program and then the $5,000 program. So we're really trying to target small businesses that are up and running but need a little bit of help.
Okay.
So are these grants, loans, both?
These are, the $25,000 increment and the $100,000 increment are loans.
Okay.
And the $5,000 is also a loan, but it could be forgiven and given as a grant with certain metrics being met.
So being a loan, are we looking at keeping this?
It's supposed to be a revolving loan
Revolving,
fund that we
yeah.
will charge interest, although below market interest. It will get repaid, and the plan and the intention, the goal is obviously to have this be self-sustaining so that we make good loans that get repaid, and then we perpetuate this program in the future.
Excellent. Other questions? Fiscal Electric is actually the official electrician of the Lafayette Apple Festival. So,
You're connected to everything.
they do a great job for us.
Always.
It's amazing
the
how
Kevin Bacon of festivals.
all roads come back to the Lafayette Apple Festival. Mr. Chairman, it is no coincidence, I'm sure.
So, any last questions, Chairman?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
appreciate you.
All right, well, that was good discussion. That's the last thing on the agenda, so we're adjourned. Thank you.